Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. We're your hosts. I'm Sybil Amuti.
I'm Brandis Daniel, and we have with us, I need a drum roll.
Yes.
You don't see me, but I'm doing a drum roll.
That's a drum roll.
Look.
The
Michele
amazing,
Thornton.
dynamic Miss Michele Thornton.
Yay!
Hello. I'm sitting here looking at this book cover, and your eyes are just gorgeous, Michele.
Well, thank you. I'm, trying to do my best with what God gave me.
You are work. This cover is so on fire. I just love it. I love it. I love the leather jacket. I love the arms folded with the pink nail. I love the hair is on point. Everything just says I'm prepared.
Well, I'm prepared to maybe change that cover, but that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother strategic conversation. We could talk about that later, but yeah, it's ever a work in progress.
Amazing. We're so glad to have you here, and we're having you at the conference. I mean, seriously, we getting a double take, Brandis. We should be praising God.
I know. I'm so excited. We're super thrilled to have you, Michele, and we cannot wait for our girlfriends to get to know you because they're going to be in for a treat and for real talk.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And I want to share, you know how you meet people, and you meet a lot of people, you meet them when you meet their titles first. And so, you meet them and they've got like that stuffy, that shake, that handshake that says, I'm an SVP. How are you? I'm this, I'm that. Read my bio, that kind of thing.
Right.
I didn't quite meet Michele with that. We met in the lobby, and I think it was under the demise of a joke that you were making, Brandis, at the Wealth Conference in January.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So it was just great to meet the woman, the human, the woman who was just very tall and statuesque and strong and funny and clearly articulate and all those things. But I love, Michele, that you didn't come with your title first. You came as the woman first. And then learning more about you, I was like, okay, she is absolutely amazing.
She's a boss.
She's a boss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
boss.
What's funny is that on the cover of the book, and hopefully some folks will go out and buy it. A whole bunch have already. But I had media executive, wife, and mother, and I got, we have to listen to our advisors. And someone told me, they're like, Michele, but that's not how you walk. You walk as a wife and mother first, and then you're a media executive. So they said you have to put in order your life, even when you put it in print, because this book will be part of history. I was like, man, but you just have to be open to that, because sometimes people want to leave with their title, but it's really not who you are, and it's not what you're going to take with you, and it's not what you're going to be remembered by.
Absolutely.
So, Michele, normally Brandis and I go through what's going on in our world, but of course, this conference is going on in our world. So what's going on over there in your world?
Oh, just a little thing called the BET Awards is coming up, and all of the talk around Prince and what's going on. So on a corporate side, I always say I have two lives. So on a corporate front, we're just excited that we have an opportunity to really tribute a man who changed the face of music.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to bringing that in the right way to the people who we know loved him. So we're really looking forward to that. And then on a strategic front, just really excited about the brand and how all these millennials have raised their hands and responded. That's not the audience I wrote the book for. But, I never get in the way of what God has for me. So he's like, this is who this book is for, and this is who's responding, and maybe this who needs it at the time. And it's been a really good journey. A whole bunch of folks have a whole bunch of speaking engagements around the conversation of women in strategy. So I'm excited just that God has revealed to me why I was created, because a lot of people don't get that opportunity.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So can you give us what God gave you in terms of why you were created?
Yeah, so you go through your life and you're like, oh yeah, this is it. Oh yeah, this is it. Oh yeah, this is it. But when you can do something that affects other people, because God's whole mission is to change people's lives. And so now that I have an opportunity, and both of you guys know, because with the work that you're doing and with the conference you're putting on, and Brandis, with you changing the world of fashion, we know that this is what our walk in purpose is supposed to be. So when I get to stand in front of somebody and they tell me that, Michele, I'm going to do this and I'm going to strategize this, and my mom wants me to go to medical school, but my real passion is this, I was like, well, what your passion is and what your mom wants for you, we don't know which one is right, but for you to have the conversation and think about it, I feel like I've made a difference. So just to have that impact on women, to me, is special.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited about it.
I love that. I love that. So Sybil and I, of course, talked about you, Michele, before we got on the call.
Okay.
And we were like, there's so many things we can discuss, but we only have a little bit of time. So what do we want to make sure we get?
We love, what we know about the backbone of the book. And a lot of our listeners, Michele, don't understand or are learning that life is a journey, and that, you're going to go through different stages and you have to make shifts and adjust and pivot where you need to. And your story for us, coming from Oakland, and all of the bio that we know about you, just really kind of, for me, says a lot to a number of women. There's like no excuse that you can live with that will keep you from what you wanted to achieve. So if you don't mind, can you kind of build for us the woman the girl that that grew up in Oakland but came all the way to New York and is now living out this strategic life in 5 minutes?
Oh, I was just saying, I would do it less than that. I'm a salesperson. Time is money. So what I'll say is this, I grew up in Oakland, and Oakland produces some of the finest folks. I have to say that. But I grew up in Oakland, and I wasn't special. I didn't have a special walk. I didn't have a special upbringing. It was nothing to note. Mm-hmm. And then there are things that happen in your life that you have to pay attention to. So I didn't go to college right away. And that put me on a path that I feel took me off of the path that I was created for. But that's okay, because along that journey, there were many lessons. And along that journey, I learned to love myself. I learned to not mess with men who don't have any regard or respect for me. I learned to listen to God when he's whispering me through all the chaos and clutter. I learned that when you make a promise to somebody, like I did to my father on his deathbed, that when you stand on that, you are rewarded. So, there are different parts, but I think the message is, because I could tell a long story, but I don't know if that's important, and I don't even know if anybody cares about it, but I could say this, that I could have ended up being a housewife on a television show and made a fool of myself, or I could sit here as an executive because I made a different decision and didn't depend on somebody to take care of me. Mm-hmm. So there were decisions that I made along the way that have benefited me, and I made some wrong decisions, but this is what I know to be true, is that we can pivot and reset, and we can walk and still get someplace that we were destined to be. But the whole notion of the book is that there are certain things we need to do and be aware of to even begin that walk. And it's about self-awareness. It's about having people around you and transforming your circle and creating an elimination list, because there are people that are in your circle that haven't earned the right to be there, and they just suck your time away.
Right there.
Yeah. So there are 10 pillars that apply for men and women. I don't like to say I wrote the book for women because I think we need it. I think men singularly focus on something and become the president or Michael Jordan, and we're so busy in the back. And what we become, and you'll love this brand, is we become an accessory instead of a brand, because we're helping everyone else look good. So the book is to remind women that you have a purpose. You were born with these gifts, and don't use these gifts on everyone else. Actually take the time and use them for yourself, because when we're right with ourselves, everyone benefits.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Michele, do you mind telling us what was the promise you made to your dad on his deathbed?
My dad was a small business owner. He was an entrepreneur. He was a car salesman. Then he owned a little restaurant. But the restaurant to me is so memorable because it was a little soul food joint in Oakland on a corner on 106th and MacArthur Boulevard. And all these politicians and church leaders and community folks and teachers and police officers, they would all come there together. So it was like a home for them. So I would see all these powerful people coming through and making change. And my father was part of that conversation, and he died at 59. So what I told him was that I would make him proud of me, that I would continue his legacy in a bigger way. And after I said that, literally he passed away, like not a minute, but seconds.
Wow.
He closed his eyes, and my brother's like, man, he actually waited for you to get here, because I ran from work. I was at work, and I came over to the hospital. And so I made that promise to him. So I stand in that, because people are like, why are you so driven? Why are you so, how did you lose weight? How did you? And I was like, because I stand on something bigger.
Oh, Michele, we don't even know where to go. There's so many things I want to
I'm breathless.
dig into right now.
Tell us, Michele, about one of those pivots that you think is one of the most monumental that you took. Like, you went to college, and I know you graduated at 30, right? So And I've also read that you cleaned houses and that you had a number of different
Yeah.
small jobs that you took so that you could stay on your path. But what was one of those pivots that you think was one of the ones that has influenced your life the most?
You know what my gut tells me to tell this story? So, for this audience that you guys have, so one of the big pivots I did, and I think we all find ourselves right in a position we're working for someone or we're in a relationship and we know we're not valued. But we don't know where to go. We don't know how to leave because it's like you're stuck.
Yeah.
And so one of the big pivots I did is I worked for a really big news organization, and I worked there for 6 years, and I gave them a lot. I mean, I performed, I created a multicultural business there. I gave them a lot. And someone in the organization looked at me and said I probably wouldn't be promoted because they didn't know if I could lead people, if people would follow me.
Wow.
And I was like, you mean all those people lined up outside my office on a daily basis asking for advice? All those people, I can't lead them. Okay, got it. So I knew they would never give me a role that I would actually manage people. And we know in this business that you are judged if you can manage and lead people, right?
Right.
So there was no way that I could grow and become the woman that I'd want to be in this business if I didn't leave. And it was a really big decision. And so what I did was, and I write about this, is that I got some help. So I got a coach that was working with me to help me become a leader in a company that would never promote me. And I asked him to help me leave. And we got a whiteboard and I had it delivered to my office and we strategized on that board and I laid out 3 companies. And I said, I'm going to leave this company and because I've earned the right to do that. So it was a huge pivot for me because it was a really big brand. And so you have to understand, going from CNN to a BET, people question that.
Right.
People were like, why would you do that? And it's the whole white and black thing. Why would you leave this strong company, this technology company, to go to an all black brand? Leave General Market, go to a black brand. And what I can say to anyone who listens to this, it was one of the best decisions I made because in 24 months, I went from a director when I left CNN to a senior vice president.
Wow.
And I'm a senior vice president in the Viacom family. So please Google that name.
Yes.
It's not just... Right. And Viacom had to approve that. So it's not just a BET Networks thing. It is a parent holding company. They approve any senior vice president because the perks and benefits and the power you get when you have that title is significant and unanimous across the board. So it was a big pivot. And I want to encourage any woman that you do your research, you do your homework, you understand what your options are, you write them out. You get people on your team who can help you get to where you want to be, and you do it when you already have a job because it's much easier to pivot when you're pivoting from something.
Right. Because I know
true.
there's so many women who are in places, Michele, where they see the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
They're about to get rid of them.
Yeah. For real.
And they don't really know what to do. Like, how did you find a coach? How did you know to find a coach? Like, who did you find and what was that process like?
Well, this is the thing. You don't even need a coach. And I talk about this in the book. You need an advocate and you need an advisor and you need a sponsor because to breathe the word mentor is such a big breath. And I mean that, I say that because mentor means that we have a relationship that I can share intimate things with you, that it's an ongoing long-term relationship that we build and cultivate. Who has time to do that?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So as long as you have someone who can sponsor or advocate for you, can sit down and help you build out a plan. It could be a peer, someone you work with. It could be an old college professor. It could be someone else in the business. But what I hope what you've done over the course of your career, whether you're new or old, is that you're building these people and you're surrounding yourself and you have this circle, or I call them a board of directors, that can help you understand what your options are, lay them out, and place a timeline against it. Because if you can do that, it becomes very clear what your options are.
Right.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the options are internal. Maybe it's just getting out of that department. Maybe it's but until you write them out and write down all that they are and the people can help you get there and how long it's going to take, you really can't do anything. You can't create a vision for yourself. And where there is no vision, what does the Bible say? It says the people will perish.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Let me ask you, because in your 10 points around the 10-step, framework, when you talk about asking for what you've earned, that is such a big piece for women, especially just in every area. I'm not even going to say over careers, but we know that women make less than men, but also in our lives, having the courage to stand up for what we're worth and ask for what we've earned or what we know we deserve. What do you think is one of the key things that women can do to really own that one piece? Because that's a huge one.
Absolutely.
Well, guess what? The first thing we have to do is identify and understand and claim what we've earned. Because until you know that, you can't do anything. Because a lot of times I ask them, I was like, well, why don't you do? They're like, oh, well, I was like, you've earned that, right? Oh, I guess I did, didn't I? So you have to be able to say definitively, I earned the right to do that. I earned the right to be invited to that. I earned the right to stand on that stage. And I've earned the right to take a little bit of time to write my book because my family gets so much. So for me to carve out an hour, I've earned the right to do that because I've sacrificed and given so much. So the first thing is to say and claim what you've already earned. Once you understand what that is, it's easy to raise your hand.
Yes.
Then you just have to get the courage to do it. It's like giving a presentation. I say, when you know the material, you're going to be fabulous. But if you haven't studied the notes and you're trying to look at a cue card or you need the screen, you're going to stumble.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Take note that, ladies, that one right there is really important. And then also, Michele, I see this because every time I log on to Facebook, I see you in another city, another state, speaking and giving and serving your way forward and helping others. And I love that you are a bridge for other women and that you see the need for millennials and you said, all right, that's the call. I'm going to answer it. Tell me how you integrate all of that into being a wife and a mom and your career, and then you're traveling. How do you create the harmony?
And I'm glad you used that word because harmony is a really crucial word, and so is communication, because balance is not. Because I have no balance.
Right.
How do you balance? I was like, I never used that word in my book. If I did, I need to remove that.
Right.
No.
So I think it's about communication. And my boss here at the network, Lewis Carr, who hired me and told me that I was bigger than being a director and that those people couldn't see the value that I could bring a corporation because they wouldn't give me a seat at the table at all the corporations I worked for in the past. And what he told me is, he's like, look, Michele, what you have to do when you get here is you need to let your family know, look, on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, I'm going to work late. But on Wednesday and Friday, mom's going to be home for dinner, or you're going to pick your kids up from school, or you're going to be able to take them to school in the morning. So once you create the plan or the strategy and communicate that, expectations are built around what you said, not what you do.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Right. So now you're controlling the flow of feeling. There is no expectation mom will be home on a Monday. So they don't even call me anymore. But on Wednesday, they're looking for me. Now, if something changes or my schedule changes, I say, hey, guess what? I'm pivoting and I'm going to make it Tuesday, but you're still going to get 2 days this week. So it's really about communication. It's about having them understand that what I do is for them and for other people who don't have the same benefit of them having a mom like me, right? Who's there, who can do things, provide opportunities, take them to great award shows, basketball games, all the things that they get an opportunity to do because they've been so blessed. And then the other thing that I think is really, really important about balance or about harmony is that when we do have time, I think it's really important that every woman, and men also, but specifically for women, that my children know that we don't stay in a hotel room unless I leave a tip on the bed, because mom used to do that for a living. And although it wasn't my destiny, I respect someone else's journey. So I think in the process, we have to let folks know I work hard, but we also have to give hard. We have to give back to people who don't have as much as us so that they can have the full experience of what all this means.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. I love that so much because that helping others part, and it doesn't start when you become an SVP. It starts from the beginning in your heart, that every stage that you're going to give, the giving part is huge. People think they're going to wait until they get to a certain income or level to say, then I become a giver. No, it's not quite how it works.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned your daughter. How old is your daughter, Michele?
She just turned 11.
Ew.
Yes, girl, get ready.
I know. A lot of our great girlfriends have children, and I particularly have a daughter. What's like one piece of advice, or what's one thing you want to make sure is instilled in her?
Well, this is the thing. So I have a daughter and a son. It's interesting. My daughter told me today, she goes, Mama, you parent Jordan different than you parent me. You kind of baby him and you give me tough love. But I can see that she needs a little bit of tough love. but what I've done is I feel like me and my husband have done a great job at raising him because she identified that. Now I'm going to watch that because I don't want her to feel like he's getting special treatment and she's not, right? So I'll give you an example. One of the things that I love is that my son wants to get to school early to help take down the chairs. Now the teacher is really pretty. So I don't know if he wants to do that because he's being a good citizen and he sees his mom and dad working so hard. And then the other thing that I'm hoping that I'm teaching them is that my daughter went to school the other day and she's in an honors program, and the teacher created this competition in the honors class, and the two different classes, two different homerooms that have honor students in it had to compete against each other. And she goes, Mommy, I don't want to compete because I think the lesson is lost. I think if we work together, we can raise money and be a team. And that's what this really should be about. It should be a team effort, raise enough money through this sales effort. So she said, I want you to help me create a petition.
Wow.
So I love the fact that she put a strategy together. She thought about it.
Yes.
And she actually petitioned. She got 7 of the 11 students to sign it. And then she presented it to the teacher and said, I want you to know that I'm doing this out of respect, but I really think there's a different path that we could take. Now I'm using my words, but she did all of this herself.
Wow.
And he goes, did your mom help you do this? She goes, well, my mom printed out the petition, but I did everything else. So he announced to the class on Friday, a very mature student approached me and asked me to change this. So I'm going to do that because she did it the way that it should be done. She got a, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
So she was able to change the dynamic, and now they're all working together as a team to do this sales effort. So I think that we've done.
Awesome.
It really is. So I'm hoping that she understands that there's a way that if you're strategic, you don't have to be, 40, that you could be 10.
Oh, she gets it.
Yeah, so I think that they both are beginning, so there's a benefit. And I've already stated the other piece is that they have to understand that as you rise up, reach back. So we make sure we have so many things that we give back to our community. Mm-hmm. And they see me traveling. I bring them to a lot of different things where I might be honored for my service. And then we make sure that they have community hours and service that they give back to the community. And I think that if you do that, they'll be well-adjusted adults when they get older.
Yes.
I love that.
I have a question, Michele.
Yeah.
And this one, Brandis, ties back to our episode with Kamika. So when you talk about your husband, it really brought home something that we talked about with Kamika Smith at the top of the year, how to be a boss without running your man. And a lot of the women that we talk to have an issue or are learning how to balance their position with their position at home. And so I want to know from you, what are some of the things that you do to create harmony in your house?
Don't we have so many jobs, ladies?
We got so many jobs. Lord.
Oh. Yes. You can't shake a man's hand too hard or he going to try and think you want his job. We really have to pay attention to everything.
I told my husband that. I said, I think I'm the greatest actress because I have so many different roles to play. And I learn how to take one hat off and put on another.
But when you understand that, it can harness that. Woo!
Yeah, it's power.
So what I would say is this, that I've made a conscious effort to be a valuable input and be a partner instead of trying to run my household. Now, what I've learned and what the conversation was, these are things that he doesn't care if I'm a runaway train on, right? I'm just going to get these done. I'm a doer. I like to get stuff done. So if you're fine with me in this lane, I want to just be able to go. There are other things I know that he'd be like, look. So I try and stay out of those and stay out of his way when it comes to those things. Uh-huh. And then the one thing that I think we do really well, look, he's a Leo to his heart. He's an attorney investment banker, so he liked to naturally ask a whole bunch of questions. Lord help me. But one thing that we made a commitment to is that we wanted, yes, we love each other, but we wanted to give our children an opportunity that we don't see a lot of families give their children, and that's unity. The power of this Black family and love. And so whatever our issues are, they're not bigger than us wanting for our children to be able to see that and stand on that to propel them to do great things in the world. So when all the other foolishness, little things come down to it, it doesn't even matter. We just communicate around those. And then we go to church as a family. So we praise God as a family. We ask him to cover this family with grace and understanding and wisdom. And we know through him all things can be done. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Michele. Oh, this is awesome. Can I say, listen, normally people tell us they feel like they're on the sofa with us, but I feel like we're on your sofa.
Totally.
I love you. I can't wait till June 11th. Y'all,
I know. Right now in my head.
Fabulous.
In my head, Michele, I got my feet on your lap.
I know. She's rubbing my shoulders. She's telling me I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it.
You sure are. You gonna make you guys. You know you some bad sisters. Stop playing. Stop playing.
But when you have someone who can impart so much great wisdom from the heart, and it's not a cliche, it's not just a book, it's evidence. When you get that pure evidence and you can feel that being soaked in, like we're just absorbing all this, honestly. We're just like sitting at your feet.
Oh man, well I feel truly, truly honored. I'm not even lying because when Yvonne called me, I was like, "What? Of course, yes, absolutely." I'm in Bentonville trying to make it happen. I was like, "What's going on?"
We're so excited to have you on the podcast, on the conference as one of our advocates. Michele has been an advocate for a long time for Brandis.
Brandis, you don't even know. Lord help.
Right. And for all our women that are eccentric viewers and understand the programming and what's going into the television, you're changing the narrative for us on TV. And we're so grateful that we can get some quality programming.
Yes. I mean, we need a lot more. We need a lot more, but we are definitely trying to create our voice in the marketplace and stand up for Black women. We unabashedly say Black women.
I love it.
It's designed for her.
We need it.
We definitely need it. I love it, Michele. This was so incredible. We are so grateful.
I know. Okay. I know we gotta let her go, but we don't want to.
I don't want to. I'm telling you, I feel like I'm snuggled up on the couch with her.
I know. Like, what happens when we leave here? No. But thank you so much. Honestly, your time is so valuable. Your wisdom is so valuable. And just your commitment to all the women. I mean, I feel it personally. And we just thank you so much for the book Stratechic. Ladies, you have to go out and grab one. Don't just grab one. You need one for your great girlfriends. You need one for your mama. Your auntie needs a copy. Your boss. You got that misguided leader in your life. Give it a book.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And you can go to her website, which it's just Stratechic. Yep. Stratechic.com. And then also it's on Amazon as well, right?
Yep, it's on Amazon currently. It's on stratechic.com. And my Instagram is Stratechic. And my Twitter handle is Thornton Michele. And I am out there trying to share some love and wisdom.
I love it.
Fantastic job.
Thank you for even taking the time to write the book because you're already at a place of success. And you could have said, once I retire, I'll write a book. But the fact that you wrote a book in the midst of actually still grinding it out on a day-to-day basis with your very demanding job is amazing.
Yeah, and in the book I wrote how I was able to do that. So I think it's an interesting story. So if nothing else, folks should get a book and figure out how they can carve some more time out to fulfill one of their bucket list life journey missions.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Well, Michele, we close out by thanking our husbands. My husband, Kwaku, is just, oh man, you'll meet him on June 11th, but he's just my rock and I really appreciate him.
And I want to thank my hubby, Richard Daniel, who's out there working so hard to provide for our family and is just absolutely incredible.
All right, well, I want to thank my husband, Tony G, for asking me a whole bunch of questions.
No.
I'll tell you, I even wrote in the front of the book that if it weren't for him and him holding down so many things that I could not be who I am. So we know this is not a journey alone.
It is not. It is not.
And then these kids, my kids, Sam and Dylan, who just support everything. They support it, and I just appreciate them being able to ride with me. I really.
Yeah.
And I'm loving Miss Sky, even though she gave it to me today. When I tell you gave it to me,
well, guess what?
Gave it to me today.
Miss Sky is gonna turn into a Miss Taylor G one day, or Mr. Jordan G, and they gonna be what? Remind me on June 11th to tell you a story that I cannot say to be recorded. That my daughter told me this morning. I have to tell you that when it's not. It's just us in person. Okay. Too wise for her age. Too wise for her age.
So thank you to our hubbies, our families, and to our great girlfriends for trusting us as your go-to source for everything life, love, and laughter. You can listen on our website, iTunes, Stitcher, Blueberry, all under The Great Girlfriends. Remember to check us out on Instagram,
The Great Girlfriends,
Facebook,
The Great Girlfriends,
Twitter,
_Great GFS.
And tell all your great girlfriends to join our Facebook group as well.
Yes, 12K. We're 12,000 and growing.
Yes.
Great.
We're so excited about it. All right, ladies. So post your questions online. Share with your friends. Keep listening
and keep being a great girlfriend.
I'm Sybil.
I'm Brandis.
And I'm Michele Thornton, Stratechic.
Hey! And we're signing off. Peace.
Thank you, Michele.
All right.